This is William Tincup and Ryan Leary. You are listening to the Practitioner's Corner. Today we have Tricia Shields on, and we're going to be learning about her journey. Tricia, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Welcome. Absolutely,
Thank
absolutely.
you.
Do us a favor and introduce yourself a little bit.
Yeah, I'm Tricia Shields, as you mentioned. I'm the Chief Human Resources Officer at Naviant. I've been with this organization for just over 15 years now, so it's really been kind of the capstone of my career at this organization. I did start out of college with a commercial general contractor, so I have gotten an opportunity to kind of see HR from a different lens. Naviant is working in the consulting services space in technology. So those two industries are absolutely different. So that's been kind of a neat aspect of my role and just kind of the evolution of my career and the type of HR that I'm doing. I do always like to share that my degree is actually in business technology, which has absolutely
Yeah.
served me really well. But I kind of grew into HR. This was not my focus when I got out of college. I didn't think I was going to go into HR. So it's been neat to be what I always say is more of a non-traditional HR professional and just really get to
Right.
experience the HR profession through that lens.
So why don't we start there? How did you just fall in? I think this is a story for most HR and recruiting folk, but
Yeah.
how did you, well, two things take it. One, how did you fall into HR? But
hmm
two, how did you stay at a company for 15 years? That's
Yeah.
not very normal today. Tell us about this.
Pretty unbelievable. Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess the first question is I've always kind of believed in just this genuine approach to life, both personally and professionally, and just leaning into who I am as a unique individual. And one of the things that is absolutely a driver for me is connecting with other people in a really genuine way. And so out of college, I pursued more like office management type roles where I got to kind of flex like my administration, facilitation skill set, and definitely connecting with other individuals. And in that initial role that I had, I did HR because a lot of small companies, your office manager is doing everything. And so
Yes.
that was really my first initial step into it. And it kind of grew from there. Um, as far as my 15 years at Naviant, it's really probably more driven by who Naviant is as an organization. I mean, they're a growth company, so being able to continuously leverage growth throughout my time at Naviant has been a driver of staying here as long as I have. So when I first started at Naviant, I was actually their executive assistant because that was really transferable from the role that I was at now or was at previously. And then, I mean, it's been amazing. Like, I literally went from their executive assistant, they started giving me more responsibility. And as I was kind of elevating the game, Navient was elevating the game right along with me. And, as of very recently, found myself in our CHRO role, which has been phenomenal.
So usually this is a question we ask it towards the end, but it's something I want to know now. It's like if you could
Yeah.
go back and give yourself advice when you first came in
Yeah.
for Navient, like what would you what's the scroll of things that you tell yourself to do and not do, etc.
Yeah, it's probably around the confidence piece and just, as we get older and further into our career, I feel like, we do kind of gain, I'm sure you guys can appreciate this as well, but we just gain a level of confidence about what we're doing. I'm sure some of that is, around experience. It's also the people that are around you. When you first get out of college, it just feels like maybe people don't take you all that seriously. Maybe your ideas and insights don't matter.
No.
And then all of a sudden that shifts. I remember that actually being kind of an odd shift when that happened. Like,
Right.
oh, am I that far into my career that now
I've hit
somebody
that
thinks that I'm
age.
wise?
Now they're taking me
Exactly.
seriously.
Right. Um, so I would say that just being more confident, and I actually see that in the generations now that are coming in to
Mm.
the career space is the level of confidence with those folks is unbelievable. And I wish I had that really early
Yeah.
on.
So the accent. Do we say you're from Wisconsin? Did we get there yet?
Yeah,
I don't think we
now
Did
we
have.
we?
did. Tag.
We did. Now, yeah, Tag, you're it.
Yeah, true.
The accent.
I
Tell us,
know.
Wisconsin. Let's talk about that for a moment. How did you end?
I
Are
know.
you from Wisconsin? Did you end up
Yeah.
in Wisconsin?
I even feel like we're saying Wisconsin different.
Yeah, yeah. It's kind of like we were on the other day with someone said France, and then they said
Yeah.
France, and I said no,
Ugh.
no, no, it's
Yeah.
France. They said
Yeah.
France.
no, it's
Come on.
France.
What are you doing here?
We even
Hippie?
say that like about Navient. I mean, we have 125 employees at Navient. They're all across the nation. So Texas, Pennsylvania, kind of, we're in 28 states now, but the
Okay.
ways that they say Navient, so the company that we all work for is really different.
Yeah.
I am known at Navient for having the strongest Youper accent. So
Ah.
Yoopers being in the UP of
Yep.
Michigan, and I'm about 40 miles from northern Michigan, but I'm from Madison
Yeah.
originally, so from southern
Okay.
Wisconsin, and I think I'm one of those people that like picks up accents wherever I go. So now that I've moved to this area, I have a really strong,
I can't unhear it now. Every
There's a comedian that has this
right?
bit. There's this bit that you start talking like the person that's talking to you.
Yeah,
So
yes,
you start like the more they talk, the more you start kind of dialing into how they talk.
yeah,
I'm like, and it's a funny bit.
I do that
yeah.
with
Um,
walking. You ever? I don't know if you do. If you when I'm on the treadmill at the gym, which I
Oh,
absolutely hate, the person who's directly in front of me, I have
right.
to take notice before I get on.
Oh,
I
your
got to go to
pace.
a. I their pace and their walk,
oh,
their
like
like
Really?
their
yeah,
quirkiness.
their
Yeah, like
movement.
I start following it. It's so weird. If someone's watching this without the audio, they're just gonna see me do this, which is awkward. But whatever. Turn the audio on and hear their
So if
stuff.
they're really cooking it and running super fast, all
I'm
of
He's
a
moving.
sudden
letting it
you're
off.
He's
having a
moving.
more
Yeah,
intense
yeah, yeah.
workout that
But
day.
there is a guy. He has a limp, and he walks normal, and then like every fifth one, he goes like this, and he goes like this. I'm like, huh? And I find myself
Stuff doing a bit.
Starting
going
to
like
do
that.
it.
It's so
You go.
bad.
You come home and your wife's like, "What are you doing? You don't.
Yeah.
I always
You don't have a
can't."
limp.
I just limped for 45 minutes. Leave me alone.
Well, the UP in the summer is gorgeous.
Yeah. Yeah, it
Absolutely. Full
is.
full stop. It is. It is. It's a miracle. It's beautiful.
Yeah, we say that we survive our winter because of our and really our other three seasons. It's unbelievable here. You know, we live
Right.
right off of Lake Superior and just the natural resources that are in this area are unbelievable. Yeah, UP's
And this is
great.
the minus 65 degrees you were telling us
This
Nah,
about.
it's not
is
that. It's
that
not that bad. Come on.
it
It's
can
only that.
get that
It
bad.
Not that
can get
bad.
that
It
bad.
can get that bad.
It can get that bad.
So like
Where do you?
tomorrow's 8, so think about that. Like,
That's
does it ever
summertime.
get to 8 in Texas?
It,
Exactly.
no, no. People would freak out if it got to. If people literally, they'd freak out.
Yeah.
Where are you drawing inspiration these days? Like every once in a while, your well runs a little dry.
Yeah.
Is it reading? Is it podcasts? Is it talking with other peers? Is it vacations?
Yeah. Maybe some of that. I would
Yeah,
say for me, it's probably LinkedIn is huge. Like, I just love the LinkedIn community and the way that that platform has really brought so many of us together. Specifically HR professionals. I really enjoy the HR tech space. So it's given me an opportunity to connect with other people that enjoy that space and have probably way more knowledge than me about that space. So I love LinkedIn. The other thing is just peer groups. Like I'm finding a ton of opportunities to network with other HR professionals across the nation and it is inspiring. Like it's just, and maybe part of that's being like a non-traditional HR person, but it's just inspiring to talk to other people and hear their point of view and just get that genuine people approach to, how they tackle their work. So I would say that.
quick follow-up, Ryan. Are you a LinkedIn? Are you a lurker, a voyeur? Or are you in there in the mix,
Doing it.
commenting and doing the bit?
I'm doing it. I thought that was
Okay.
a question for Ryan, but I'm
See,
doing
No,
I
it. I'm
thought
in
that
it.
too, and
Oh,
I was like, oh, should I answer that? I don't
no,
know.
you should. You should.
yeah,
Absolutely.
Ryan, are you
No,
in it or are you a
I'm
lurker? I'll be the HR professional interviewing you guys.
he's definitely a lurker.
I'm
Is he?
definitely a lurker. Yeah. You know what, it's I've been quiet on LinkedIn, and I don't know why. I think it's because I go in cycles, I think.
Yeah,
I
Okay.
go
yeah.
in cycles, right? I wake up, I for a long time, LinkedIn was my first stop. It was
Right.
come
Okay.
on, see what's going on.
Start your day.
And then I moved off. Now it's just it's getting ready for spring. So now I'm watching
Mm,
fishing videos of all things to make it, like what am I going to be doing next week? Like
Sure.
that type
yeah.
of stuff. And I'll go back. I'll go back, but for now I'm a lurker.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm
Yeah.
watching you.
I
Okay.
like that.
Watching
Yeah. You'll have to check me out. I'm
you.
trying to lean into LinkedIn. I'm trying to like not, I'm trying to be a contributor and
Right.
almost like an
Yeah.
encouragement to others. Like,
Mhm.
I don't have it all figured out, but let's try a couple things and I'm going to throw stuff out there and see how that resonates with folks and if it's
Oh,
Yeah.
encouraging to
cool.
them or not. I started doing YouTube shorts. I don't know if
Yeah,
you
yeah.
guys have done anything with
Yeah.
that, but started doing those as well and like a blog article just to see, yeah, see what's interesting to individuals and, maybe it lands and maybe it doesn't, but I just feel like being a contributor in the conversation.
I love it.
Not to put a diss on you, Ryan, if you're not contributing, because that's okay too.
I'm going to start contributing today.
Okay.
100%.
Just
I'll put
based on
something
that.
out there today. Yeah, and I feel
Okay.
I feel I feel like two things just happened here. HR just completely let me go,
Hmm.
and I'm being generous, but it's all good. It's all good.
Right.
Um,
Ryan, could
That's
you come to
valid.
the office? Just, yeah.
I've had one of those or twice, once or twice.
No.
What what are you thinking about today? Right? What's on your mind today
What's
that
keeping you up
you're
at night?
working on? Yeah.
What's
What's
keeping you up
keeping
at
you up at night?
Hmm.
Hmm.
What's keeping me up at night? Um,
Or during the day if you're night
that's
owl.
Good
true.
point. Good point.
Right. It's keeping me awake during the day. Um, I guess I would say for where I'm at in my role, kind of in my career path, it's really about being able to find enough time to genuinely connect with our employees. Because I think
Mm.
like the HR space and you guys talk to other practitioners, I mean, this is probably true in a lot of different positions, but certainly in ours, it's totally changed over the last 20 years. And um, what's being asked of HR professionals is it's just greater than it's ever been.
Right.
And it's part of the reason that I'm passionate about the technology piece is I feel like I want to make sure that I'm not forgetting what I'm here to do, which is support our employees. Like, if I don't know all of our employees, I mean, and it's manageable now because I have 125 employees at Navient, but I need to be connecting with them and finding out what their desires are. Why are they here? What gets them excited? What keeps them up at night? And help to identify strategic initiatives to do more of that. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a development initiative. It could be we need to be connecting more. Like one of the initiatives that we're working on right now is we're all virtual, so 125 of us across the nation, all virtual, which
Oh,
is
that's
its
cool.
own unique
Hmm.
Hmm.
experience for
Were you
sure.
were you always virtual, or was that a
We
COVID thing?
weren't. No, we went virtual during the pandemic. We did have a
Wow.
few virtual employees prior to that, but
Right.
basically everybody was in kind of that southern Wisconsin area. We had
Right.
like all went to the office and we learned about that piece hugely during the pandemic and then made a decision to stay remote. So one of the initiatives we're working on now is networking, like a networking technology where
Right.
kind of all get plugged into a networking
Hmm.
platform and it rotates you around. It gives you opportunity to do things that you would do in the break room in a
Right.
in-person environment. You'd run into somebody from a different department that you otherwise probably don't work with when you're going to get coffee. So um, I would say that people part of it is huge for me.
Okay.
Similar, but do you got another one, right?
No, no, go for it. Go for it.
Similar but different through the 15 years and then the experience you had before. What's the hardest part of HR? The HR is a whole tapestry of things, right? So the hardest thing for you to kind of get your hands around. compensation, performance, and
Mhm.
go around the wheel, global payroll, whatever the bid is. Like, what's the hardest thing that you've been confronted with in HR?
Um, yeah, I mean, compensation is always a challenge because, we always say, like, we do an employee engagement survey where,
Hmm.
we're surveying employees every week. We ask them a question just from an engagement perspective. And even as we look at the benchmarking data, we know that comp and benefits is going to be one that will score the most
Yes,
challenging.
yes.
Just, we all want to make more money, right? We all want to have, I mean, wouldn't it be great to have free benefits? So I think that that's certainly from my own growth and understanding has been, that's been a big one. That and compliance, like compliance is so
Mm.
big in HR as far as, we hold some of the most sensitive data
Yep.
in the organization, and being able to be the owners of that and handle it correctly. When we start getting into state and federal
Oh yeah.
contract status, some of those pieces have been challenging. I would say, like, so far in my career, probably the pandemic was the biggest challenge as far as helping to navigate that from a support of the business as well as the support of our employees' perspective, just hands down. I remember actually I was in a roundtable, and we were an in-person roundtable, and I remember going there like maybe halfway through the pandemic and just around a table of other HR professionals, and you could just everyone was so drained and just
Hmm.
depleted of kind of everything they had. There was a bunch of discussion about, like, can I stay in HR? That was such a challenging time
Yep.
for HR professionals. I think we're getting re-energized now.
Yeah. So I'm gonna talk about compensation. You mentioned comp as obviously one of the big factors. Does compensation, are you finding compensation always has to be salary, or can it be other things? Can it be a parking spot, a prime
Hmm.
parking spot, or can there be other privileges that people are getting that they consider compensation and they're happy with that?
Yeah. I mean, so it's kind of that total rewards piece, just like
Hmm.
what is
Yeah.
the total, I guess, total reward of, the position that they
Hmm.
have. I think some employees, it depends on the employee. It's kind of all over the place. I think some employees absolutely see that. They see, what is the employer paying towards my health insurance and other benefits? And what do I get for reimbursement for home office expenses, or those types of benefits that they, as employers, like, we absolutely show those costs to the employees so they're aware of that. But some people don't care about that. They're just like, yeah, I mean, that's, as an employer, that's something that you should be providing me. So I'm not even
I've always
considering
been that
that.
guy.
Have
That's
you? You're the latter?
I
yeah.
don't know. I feel like I always have been. Like I want
Hundred
cash.
Yeah.
percent.
Yeah.
100%. I
Although
think.
I
Turbo.
appreciate it because once you have to pay for it,
Yeah.
big difference, right? It's not the same. I get that. But in the
Right.
moment, yeah, I've always felt like, yeah, like pay me more
See,
money then.
see,
Right.
I think it's HR and comp and all the people in total rewards. We want to then say, here's your total reward statement. Here's all the things that you
Okay.
get, right? And here's how
Yeah.
it all makes sense. My gut tells me, and I have no empirical data to support this whatsoever, but I think most people are like, yeah, I don't care. What am I being paid? What's my take home?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's it. If you're paying my insurance or not paying my insurance or paying for, whatever the bid is that I think, go through painstaking, process every year to
Hmm.
then think of the benefits package and think about all the things that we could add that people want, etc.
Yeah.
I think they look at it like Ryan's suggesting. I think they look at it and go, yeah,
But
that's that's what you should be doing.
I have
Right.
What
changed over
what's my
my
Absolutely.
salary?
yeah, but I have changed over the years though, because
Mm,
as
I think this
now,
is it. Yeah.
yeah, when I was in my 20s and even 30s, it's like, no, I want cash.
Yeah.
yeah,
Now I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, healthcare for five is like 3 grand a month. Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Right.
Oh, we
Right.
got we got
fair,
tuitions coming. We've got this coming. So you got
fair.
tuition
Yeah.
benefits. You've got healthcare coverage. You've got this
Yeah.
covers that covers. You're paying for home office. You're paying for $600 a month in phones and internet. Yeah. Okay,
Hmm.
that adds up. Now I see that. So like in
Hmm.
today's age for me,
Yeah.
I still want cash, but
Right, right. But
I
I
could
think
take
it
into
is that
consideration.
evolution. I think it is that evolution of, you work for an employer and then
Yeah.
you make a change, and maybe it is for a base compensation perspective that you make the change, but then
Right.
you start to identify some of those other things that those are also going to affect your take-home pay depending on the
Yes.
benefits that they're offering. So I think
Yeah.
as you get more experiences with different scenarios, it changes your appreciation. And you're right, like growing families and things like that, certainly, I mean, people
Yeah.
will select an employer based on their benefit offerings
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
because
It
of
Well, and
that.
impacts his recruiting.
yeah. Well, and
Mhm.
I think the companies, the company sets the culture or the people,
Mhm.
but I think that also determines who works there. If
Yeah.
you want top level pay, then don't go
Yeah.
to a company that says we value benefits and this and
Right.
this and this
Mhm.
over
Right.
top pay. Your compensation works out the same.
Right.
But if you can't see it this way and be part of a culture that supports this and wants to do this, then
Yeah.
you're in the wrong place anyway.
See, I
Uh,
think
Right.
it comes down to parenting. So this is gonna
this is
The
where
completely
I
offend.
lose the
generations.
battle.
This is
I
gonna
fail
Oh,
the parent
this is
okay.
battle
gonna
with
be
this guy.
completely offend most of the
Oh
audience. But
God.
Oh no.
if you
How do
haven't,
is there a mute button here? Hang on.
as
How
you
do I do
should,
Right. If he
this?
starts with that, we know we're getting into trouble.
yeah, yeah. But like, think of it like this. Okay,
Okay.
so you've taken care of all your kids' expenses for their entire life. They don't have a bank account. They've never worked a job, etc. I'm talking about my kids. So they go off
They're
to
listening.
college, and again, everything's taken care of for them, etc. They've never really had to work or worry about money, etc. They get out. I think they just expect all that stuff to happen because that's been their
Mhm.
expectation.
Mm.
Whereas parents that grow up with, they get their kid a bank account at 15 and they work a job and they understand the cost of gas and things like that. And they, maybe pay for their own college or pay for some of the parts of it, etc. They're paying
Yeah.
for their own phone. Like they're more fiscally or financially literate. Then I think they care, like to Ryan's point, I don't know if it's just about age. I think it's those built on experiences of like, they know the
Mhm.
value of money and
Yeah.
Mhm.
so they value not only the salary, but all of those other things.
Right.
So I'm blaming the
That
parents.
wasn't as bad as I thought it was
Yeah,
gonna
that
be.
actually came off really well. That
I
was
See,
well done.
you got to set the expectation.
I
Yeah,
So
totally
right.
totally
Scare
question,
us.
expected to like lose my family here.
it's pretty much what I do. So
Yeah.
AI is, in your mind, is it overhyped, adequately hyped, or underhyped?
I
AI
think it's
and HR.
AI and HR. Yeah. I think it's adequately hyped.
Okay.
Um, I think there's like right now, and this is part of kind of like the message that I like to share. And I definitely don't have this whole technology piece figured out. Um, but I think there's a lot of cool capabilities as it relates to the technologies that are available to HR professionals. And again, like I don't even know what they all are. We're definitely leaning into it, as much as possible. But yeah, I think there's a ton more to come. I think it's appropriately hyped. I think we're a little nervous about it as HR professionals in general are kind of nervous about technology and like even just the right way to apply it or even the right way to
Yeah.
start it. So I would say that, yeah, definitely not underhyped.
Yeah. So I want to bring it back to you for a moment.
Okay.
Okay, so you've got a full circle. You've got a
Full
journey here,
circle.
right? You've been there
Yeah.
for 15 years. You were the EA. You went all the way up to where you are now.
Yeah.
There's there's going to be people that are listening or watching this episode here that
Mhm.
are in the position where you were 15 years ago, and they might feel
Mhm.
like it's a dead end position or they don't know what to do next. H- How? What was your journey for?
Mhm.
Give them some insight into your journey there and what they need to
Yeah.
think about to move forward.
Yeah. I mean, I think definitely part of it is aligning yourself with an organization that um like is a great match to just who you are. Like as an
Mhm.
example, Naviant is a growth oriented company. I've always reported to our CEO. He's had a phenomenal belief in me since the very beginning. He's just a phenomenal human being. And so I think aligning yourself with a really great leader is important, and aligning yourself with an organization that you believe matches your values. And because, yeah, HR, you're definitely going to run into some challenges throughout your journey, but being able to really believe in what you're doing, and it doesn't mean you have to work for a company that's necessarily like saving lives, but being able to believe in what you're doing and supporting an organization that you think is doing really great things for the people that work there. If people are feeling trapped or like that's not an opportunity, I would say, look at who you work for, both from a company and just leadership perspective. Who are your peers? I have
Yeah.
amazing peers that I work alongside with, and actually quite a few of them that we've grown through this journey together. And it's, those people have been great supports to me. Um, and I think I attribute some of my success to that as well. So I think it's definitely that alignment piece for sure.
So if I were to look at your technology stack, all the different things that you have access to, the tools that you use from payroll to whatever,
Yeah.
and I were to say, you got to get rid of everything but one, what's the one thing you keep?
Yeah. I like
Yeah,
that.
she's hesitating because her budget depends on this answer.
It's like, oh, what are they going to make me eliminate?
You got to
um,
eliminate it all.
We're not saying they gave us these questions to ask you,
No, no.
but
I mean,
right. Did my car call you and say, um, for me, it's definitely the process automation technology. So we're utilizing a technology, and this is the space that Naviant works in, but it's called
mm,
OnBase. And so
Mhm.
the way that technology, it's an enterprise technology, but we're utilizing it in HR to do all the manual things that HR professionals historically did. And we utilize that in so many areas of our HR space, from like onboarding to performance management to um, development to offboarding individuals, all of our file cabinets, our document management. That's the technology that allows me to spend more time with employees. And I think that's why I'm like most passionate about that.
if
Thumbs
you
up.
you got the thumbs up from William, that's
Yeah,
that's a,
it's
that's a
big.
winner. So if you had to look back, this is more I think about what's in your journey in your head. If you had
Yeah.
to look back, what's that one pivotal moment where you were just like, dang, I did the right thing. I'm in the right space, and it kind of refueled you or fueled you to go
Hmm.
forward to where you are.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I'm ever feeling like that, and then you kind of figure out that there's so much more to go. I would say it's probably happened now in the last several years, like literally the last 2 or 3 years. I think I've been just on this journey and evolution, but
Mhm.
I think feeling really solid about who I am and the contribution that I can make to the organization and the people that I serve at Navient, and even my ability, and I don't know how you guys feel about this for yourselves, but my ability to have my voice be important in the whole collective, all of our voices, and feeling a confidence about that. Um, I feel like that's really in the last 2, 3 years, I've felt much more solid about that and just solid about my space and where I'm going next with this.
Favorite book or book that you're reading right
Hmm.
now?
Yeah, I'm not a huge book
I
person.
was
I
gonna
don't
say
know if
you're
that's terrible
assuming
to
she's
say.
I only
That's
see
you're
right.
like
assuming you're
there's
These
reading a
books,
book.
there's
this
five
is like
books.
my library of all the books I've ever read. No, I do
Virtual
have a favorite. Exactly. No, this wood paneling, this is pure northern Wisconsin here.
If somebody
Um,
asked me that question, I would vomit. I'd be like,
books,
let me Google real
right?
quick.
I'd
Like,
freeze. I'd do the Zoom freeze. Yeah.
we've lost you here.
I'm sorry.
Um,
For people
Can't
who
hear you.
aren't watching the video of this, you'll be like,
right. It's gonna sound a little funny. Mine's
yeah.
Crucial Conversations. That book I think is I
Mhm.
I love that book. That's a people book. about that people can use personally and professionally and it kind of is that hones in on taking stock of who I am, what are my benefits, what are the things that maybe more challenges as I interact with the world. And then it tells you almost like kind of how to go interact with the world. Because, like, if you even look at my environment, right, I work in tech. And so a ton of the people that I work with, they're way more technical than I am. They're also probably way more introverted in a very general sense. And so, how am I going to interact with those folks in a really meaningful way? So I feel like Crucial Conversations is a cool book about just how we all talk to each other, even when the conversation is challenging, because as you can imagine, not all HR conversations are easy. But I want to do those again. I keep saying genuine, but I want to do those in a really genuine way. And I feel like that book is an awesome guide to do
If you
that.
if you like that conversation, there's a book that came out about 15 years ago called Fierce Conversations,
Ooh, writing it
and
down.
yeah, it's in, and that's the hard discussions. So how do you have
Yeah.
the gumption to have, we're about to go and have sexual harassment claim has been made. We're about to do an investigation and all that
Mm-hmm.
entails. Now you've got to have some very candid
Sure.
discussions with people. Not easy. I mean, none
Yeah.
of that's easy. There's an
Mm-mm.
aspect with in HR, the moment you get contacted, the moment that you're turned on that, okay, there's been a sexual harassment claim,
Mm-hmm.
everything becomes difficult.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what, no matter even if after an investigation you find out that there wasn't anything to it or whatever, it's still emotionally the toll is
Absolutely.
extremely high. So you'd love fierce conversations.
Yeah, I'll definitely check that out.
I just put both in my Amazon cart as we're here.
Ooh,
So I put
Yeah,
okay.
but
both in.
you gotta actually read them.
You
So
can't just buy them. You can't
step
just put them on the bookshelf.
step
that's the bit.
one,
I
step
don't believe
one, I put
anybody's
it in the cart.
bookshelf.
Step one, I put it in the cart. There's only one copy
Okay.
left of Crucial Conversations.
Yeah, put
Really?
put the
So I,
Wow.
lotion in the basket. Yeah,
I
but
may not.
you actually got to read the book. You know what I'm
I'm gonna
saying?
look for an
Totally.
audio version first, and I'll let you know how that happened.
Mm,
And if
that's
it does,
valid.
now
Now
Fierce
that
Conversations has free return, so I could read it a little bit
100%.
and send it back.
Yeah, yeah,
Send
yeah.
it back.
Get it back. Get my money
Run
back.
with
So
it.
are you a buyer or seller of some online influencers in the sense of do you get something from some of these people? And I'm thinking of people on Twitter and people on LinkedIn, etc. And some of them are loud. There's a lot of noise. Some of it's
Hmm.
substantive, etc. But really, from a practitioner's perspective, is there any juice there for you?
Yeah. Just as far as like specific, I don't know, like specific people necessarily
Yeah,
that like come to mind for me, but um yeah, I even in the HR space, I don't even feel like I see anyone too loud like
I
in
know.
that space, just in probably it's the nature of the type of people that are
Right.
gravitate towards
It's
HR.
usually ex HR. They worked in HR,
Yes.
and now they're
Right.
they're free to then be able to say all the things that they would have said if they
Right.
could. Yeah.
Right. Even like I saw your tagline or like one of your taglines, like I will say the things that other people will not say. It's like, whoo, that's hard in HR. I don't
He
Yeah.
know.
doesn't say anything.
He,
He's a pussycat.
yeah.
He big bark, all bark.
Is he
Yeah.
all
N-
bark? Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He'll loosen the
Absolutely.
lug nuts on your tires if you
Right.
push him.
It,
She
it's
just
a
Tricia just doesn't really want to say it. She
no,
does
She's
follow me
nice
on
because she's
LinkedIn.
HR.
She
hundred
follows
percent.
me on LinkedIn. She's a lurker. She gets
Yeah,
me there.
But she contributes as well.
Ah,
that's exactly
Keep
right.
that
I
in
love
mind.
that.
all
I
right.
love
All
that.
right.
Yeah.
Point
Yeah.
taken. Point
Yeah.
taken. Yeah, that was a
No, but I
pre-show
think cool
conversation.
contributors. I mean, I think definitely there's cool messaging out in the,
Yeah,
the HR practitioner space. I would say it's a lot around people. Like it is a
yeah,
lot around
Mm,
how are we supporting people, and you hear much more about the mental health space and how are
yeah.
employees doing. You hear a lot about that kind of checking in with employees and things like that, especially with remote employees, because
right.
you don't walk by them every day and see them. So
That's right.
Yeah, I love the messaging out right now. And I'm actually kind of proud of HR professionals for leaning into that. That's not going to be really natural for us to be promoters of a certain message or
right?
being out on LinkedIn. You can see that with sales or marketing. That's going to come really natural. But so I'm kind of proud of HR people for putting ourselves out there and starting to connect in that way.
Yeah.
So, so are you, Ryan and I have been in probably the last 10, 15 years, we've done a lot of webinars, produced a lot of webinars.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm always curious, we both also go to a lot of conferences.
Hmm.
So a lot of HR conferences, speak at a lot of HR conferences, et cetera. So I want to kind of get your Motley Fool approach to buy or sell.
Hmm.
Are you a buyer of conferences? Are you a seller of conferences? Are you a buyer of webinars? Are you a seller of webinars?
Yeah,
And then all HR related, of course, but
of
what's your take
course.
on those things?
Yeah. Um, I mean, can I be both, or is that just like too easy of an answer?
Let's say, yeah,
Is
it's
it easy?
way too easy. Come on.
Yeah.
How
It's
many
As of
webinars
depends.
did you,
late,
how many webinars did you, okay, we'll separate this. How many webinars did you register for last year? And then
hmm
how many did you actually attend?
well, because now they're giving you the option though, like if you can't attend, you'll get you'll get the copy of the recording. Does
100%.
that count?
But did you actually go back and watch the recording?
Yes, I'm an absorber of
Okay.
information
Okay.
both in conferences and webinars. I do
Okay.
more than reading. So like because I kind of want to hear from
Uh-huh.
a human perspective, like speak
Yeah,
to
yeah,
me
yeah,
about
yeah.
what you're doing. And so I would say I'm a buyer, like over the last, 5, 10 years, like I'm a buyer of that information. I'm becoming more of a seller over the last 2 years. So,
Right.
kind of identified,
Yeah.
that there is something cool that's happening over here, both with my journey as well as the company that I work for. And I want to speak to other HR professionals because I've found when I do network, they want more of that. Like, tell me more of the cool things that you're doing. And so, why not go to a conference or why not have a webinar to talk about that?
On the conference front, so you mentioned conferences a couple of times and getting together. It's HR people a couple of times.
Yeah.
What do conferences need? What do they need to change? We go to a lot, and we
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
generally see the expo hall, right? That's where we spend our time. But
Mm-hmm.
what do they need to really enhance the experience for the HR practitioners that are there? Is it just a networking lounge? Is it just a party? Like, what is it? What needs to happen?
Well, and just you have to go to the conference. What makes you, everything that
Okay.
Ryan just said,
Yeah.
Yeah.
what you got to go. You got to go.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what
What's the
year, doesn't matter.
driver?
Yeah. You have to
Mm-hmm.
go to this
It's
conference.
the
What is
entertainment.
that?
It's the entertainment.
Flow
It's the
rider,
evening
flow rider.
activity.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
It's for me, it's definitely the content. So, so many of the HR conferences have, and it's good too, but they have kind of the core
Hmm.
information. So
Right.
comp and benefits and
Yeah.
employee engagement or employee experience or recruitment or kind of those key areas. But when I see a conference that has really cool, innovative ideas, it's definitely got to incorporate things around tech because I think that's such a game changer in our space, but it's also just revolutionary ideas about what other organizations are doing. So from a content perspective, that's probably what's getting me to the conference and excited about that. It's also I feel like I love panels because I want to hear it from a bunch of different
Mm,
experiences. Like HR in manufacturing is totally different than
Yeah.
HR in tech. We're doing some similar things, but our experiences and what we
mm.
do day to day is vastly different. And so, from a panel perspective, it's like I want to hear how different industries are solving the same challenges. So, I would, versus
Yeah.
one speaker.
See panels for me. Sorry to interrupt, Tricia. The
No.
panels for me come down to the moderator. If you
Mm,
have a wonderful moderator that can
Just gonna say
shut,
that.
that bit. The other thing is, um, I tend to not do well on panels as I'm on panels because it finally gets around to me. and then I just shatter everything that everyone else has said.
Nice.
And so I
Like
don't
you
play.
crush it. Like you do
Yeah.
way better than they
Yes.
did. Totally.
So if I start, like if Bobby goes, "Hey William, for your first, why don't you tell us a little bit about?" I will set the bar so
Mm.
high that the other two or three people that are on the panel are like, "Fuck, I'm just gonna sit here for a little while and take
This
questions."
is the confidence
This
that
Yes.
is
I'm
the
talking about that we
Uh,
Patsy's
grow
elbow
uh,
exactly.
into.
oh no, this is just the
It's
reality of
really good. I
it.
love that.
So again, if you have a great moderator, even in
Yeah.
that scenario, they'll say, "William, we've heard enough from you. Janet, tell us a little bit more." And they'll tease out Janet's story, which is actually
Mm-hmm.
great. It's a great story.
Right.
I cast a big
Yeah,
shadow on some
I was
people.
gonna say the same thing on for I love panels. I love panels with people that are in not necessarily in the grind. I want to hear from the leaders of
Yeah,
real maybe not they don't have to be giant organizations, but
Yeah.
organizations where they have real challenges that they have got to excuse me, they've got to fix. But the moderator for me is key. The moderator is
100%.
for key,
Hmm.
and I don't
Yeah.
want a moderator who's just going to ask questions. I want a moderator who's not afraid to call them out on stage and say,
Yeah.
"I don't agree with you," and
Yeah.
Yeah,
actually engage
Wow.
in that conversation.
100%.
That
Love
makes
that.
it's a show for me. I go for the entertainment piece
But
of
the
it.
moderator can't talk too much.
Can't talk too
Mm-hmm.
You
much. No,
Right.
no,
can't.
We're not
eh,
here to
that-
hear that.
They're a wayfinding. They're a wayfinding thing.
no.
And
But I like when you
Tricia,
make it uncomfortable.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Earlier, you said da 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 da, or you wrote 2 years
Yeah.
ago about this,
Yeah.
and then
We
like I
fact
like that.
checked you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We knew you
And
were
the
going to
way that
say this, William, and so let me just tell you.
Trisha, the way I've gained this is I don't I'm not on panels anymore. And
Okay.
even when people
You
ask me
won't
to be
do
on
it.
panels, I just won't do it.
Yeah.
I won't even
Yeah.
moderate. Ryan seen me speak occasionally. I like getting on stage and doing performance art
Yeah.
and just having fun throwing out something new, whether or not it works or doesn't. It's more Andy Kaufman. I don't care. I'm
Yeah.
doing a bit. I might not
Yeah.
ever do that bit again. And
Mm-hmm.
all right, last thing I do have to ask you.
Okay.
Ryan will probably have something else, but I have to ask you an idea over the last 15 years that you came up with that you thought, okay, game changer. This is it. This is the thing. Whatever the little thing is, you rolled it out and it completely failed.
Oh, wow. That's kind of a complex question. It's
You should
not
have
like
started off with that
have a
question.
second. Like I'm
Come
thinking about
on.
I just got off of a couple of interviews this morning and it's like they better not ask me anything complex like that. And then this is that question. What have I totally rolled out? I thought
again,
was going to be
again,
amazing and it failed. That's
yeah. But I mean, with the best intentions, right? We have an idea.
okay.
Ryan and I do this bit all the time where we're like, all right, we're going to do this bit. Here it is. Go.
Yeah.
We put it out
Yeah.
there and like, okay, two people cared about it. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That was a failure.
And
So
those two people were us.
We
exactly.
both liked it.
My mom.
Maybe my
Yeah,
mom. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Mm,
That's it. That's it. So, what did you roll
yeah.
out? And again, this could be a long time ago.
Okay.
What'd you roll out? And you're like, okay, this is it. Like you're excited, you've communicated, and then all of a sudden it just, you know, doesn't work.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of that like really appropriate pregnant pause that people will do in interviews. Like, that's a wonderful question. Let me just think about that. I mean, the only thing that's really coming to mind, I'm sure there are a million examples of that
That you've
because
blocked out.
totally. And I'm like, but I think it is with leading into the social media space and like the
Right.
LinkedIn space. And I'm kind of learning that too. Like there's definitely pieces that I've put out that it's like, a couple people like it, or I don't know, maybe nobody likes it. And just having to kind of sit in that like okayness with that and still be a contributor and
Right.
still like develop new content and I hear that from other folks as well, and that's been part of my inspiration is like not everybody's going to love everything that you do, just keep being you and let that grow. So that's, I guess that's more of a more recent example that I haven't blocked out yet.
Ryan, are we good?
I think we're good, Trisha.
I
This has
think.
been amazing. Thank you so much
Thank you
for
guys.
coming on and sharing some of your background with us. I know it's going to help
Yeah.
a lot of people. If y'all still watching, you're still listening, fantastic. Thank you for that. Number one, make sure you subscribe, like, do all that stuff. Make sure you connect with us everywhere. We got a lot of good stuff coming out.